Go to the third video in this series on rigging. We've just finished creating the basic standard controls for our feet, which we've already gone over, and looked at how and why we created the linking structure the way that we did. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to create the controller that was going to give us the ability to manipulate sliders to affect all these different rotations that we want to use, like the banking, the pivoting on the ball, and stuff like that. One last. Okay, just want to make sure that that one was working too. So we can go up and down, and we can go left and right. Alright. And we can animate that. Alright, good. Alright, so it's time now for us to take a look at Maxscript, how we're going to generate these sliders. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put an attribute holder, which you can get it here. Later versions of Max keep recently used modifiers up here. As you can see, these are definitely some of the ones I've used a lot. So we'll just go ahead and throw the attribute holder modifier on there. And what we're going to do now is we're going to write the script that is going to generate the controls, which we can then use Reaction Manager to control. So once you go to Maxscript, and we're going to go to New Script. Okay, and what this script is going to be basically is we're going to tell it to create sliders and spinners and apply it to this modifier UI elements down here, which we can manipulate. So let's go ahead and get started with this. The first thing we're going to write, let's say my attributes. Actually, you know what, let's just keep it simple. We'll just go MA for my attributes equals, and we're going to write attributes, it should turn blue, and we're going to call this foot controls. So we're going to create a set of attributes called foot controls, and we're going to assign that to this variable called MA. Next line, go ahead and get open and close parentheses, and then we'll get some spaces in here. Hit tab just to kind of get inside. So excuse me. So we're going to take this foot control attributes, assign it to a variable called MA, and inside of the parentheses here is going to be all the things associated with the foot controls attributes. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to create a parameters block, which is going to give us access to basically it's going to create all the parameters that are going to be used with these controls. So I'm going to go ahead and call this foot, capital P, for foot parameters, and rollout colon is going to be foot R, and we'll go to open and close parentheses again, and let's get some spaces. So parameters, so the foot parameters are going to be associated with a foot rollout. So now we need to start writing what are the parameters that we're going to use. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a banking parameter. So when our feet go left and right like so, this will be our banking. So we're going to call it banking, and now we need to talk about and declare what kind of value this is going to be. and it's going to be the type colon, and we're going to do the pound sign, and we're going to call it a float. Now what this says is this value or variable is going to be of the type float, which means that it can go in like hundreds and thousands of increments. Like with this guy right here, I'm going to go 2.02. Okay, that's a float number that we have there. We could set it to integers, and it just goes in 1s, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't have any percents, but we want to be able to have that. The next thing we want to say is UI colon, and what this is basically going to say is this value, our banking value, is going to be associated with what values on our UI elements, or basically what UI elements we want to include with this value. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this banking SP for the banking spinner. I'll just get a little bit more room here. So for the banking spinner, comma, and I'm going to say banking SL, and then in parentheses. So we're going to have a banking spinner and a banking slider. UI elements are going to be associated with this banking float value. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and copy this line, and I'm going to paste it. Let's see, we're going to have rolls, toe, spin, heel spin, heel up, a tweak, and a swivel. Okay, so just copy the same things, and now we'll go ahead and rename the important things. So this is going to be the roll up. This is going to be toe spin, heel spin, and this is heel up, tweak, and this is going to be the swivel. So now we go in and we rename all these same things. I'm just going to go ahead and copy, paste, paste. So copy, paste, paste. So as you see, it's pretty easy to scale this as needed by copying the good stuff. So just bear with me while we finish this up. Alright, so bankings, roll-ups, toe spin, heel spins, heel up, tweak, swivel, swivels. Alright, so we've basically declared all the parameters and variables and everything that we're going to use. Now we actually create the elements. So we're going to create a rollout, and I'm just going to call this foot R because this is what we declared. Remember, we said these parameters, foot P, all these parameters are going to be associated with this rollout, foot R. So now we actually create the foot R rollout, and we're going to give it a name. So I get open quotes and foot controls. Okay, so just like this right here is a rollout that says parameters, that's what this is. So when we create it, we'll have a rollout, and the name right here is going to say foot controls, or name it whatever you want. We'll get our open and close parentheses again, and we'll get some space. And I'm going to tab inside so that we can start taking a look at it just keeps things orderly when we tab inside. So this is going to be pretty straightforward. We're going to create a spinner, and now we say what's the name of the spinner that we're going to create. Well, we've got one right here that we're going to name, so I'm going to copy and paste. So we're going to create a spinner, and it is going to be this banking spinner, which we've already declared that we want to use. Okay, and now I'm going to open in quotes, and I'm going to give it a name. Say we have names over here for what different UI elements, like these are checkboxes. They have a name. That's what this is going to be displayed right next to it. Okay, so once we have our once we have the banking, the name of it actually written in there, we've got a couple more things that we can basically set into motion here. It's going to be a spinner that's named banking, but now we need to figure out what the range of this spinner is going to be. It's like this spinner right here has a range of 0 to an ungodly size. So what we want to do is we want to figure out what the range is. So we hit range, we do our semicolon, and then we want the braces, not the curly braces, but the braces. And the first value that we're looking for is the starting value for, I'm sorry, the lowest number on the range. So this spinner for the banking, what we're going to do is we're going to basically have something that starts at 0, and then we can go negative to make it bank. Let's move this out the way. So the control is basically going to be at 0 here, and when we go negative, the foot's going to bank this way. When we go positive, the foot's going to bank this way. So that's what we're going to be doing. So I want to say that the lowest possible value is going to be -1. The next value is the highest possible value, which is 1. Another comma, and then we set what the default value is, which is 0. So create a spinner that's going to be pointing to this value. Call it banking and set the range to go from -1 to 1 with the starting value of 0. Okay, and now we're going to do basically the same thing for the slider. So I'm just going to copy this whole thing, paste, call this slider, and this is going to be pointing to the banking slider. Okay, for this one I'm not going to worry about name, so I'm just going to hit delete and leave it empty. We can put something in there if we want, but we already have named this control right here. Same thing we're going to have here with the range. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just create this one time so we can see what this is going to look like before we go in and do all these again. So the next thing that we're going to do is we go outside of our braces, like so. And once we have finished everything, we're ready to kind of test it and see what things look like. We actually now need to do the command that's going to actually create it. So we're going to write cust attributes dot add, which is going to add our custom attributes to something. What are we going to add it to? We're going to say $, which is code for selected object, dot modifiers, which says the selected object's modifiers, and then we're going to do a brace 1 close brace, which says the first modifier, and then we're going to put in MA, which points back to this guy. So remember, we're setting all these into a variable called MA. And what MA basically holds is all of this. MA now means all of this. So we say add to custom attributes the selected object's first modifier these parameters, everything in here. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and throw another one in and say the selected modifiers first dot name excuse me, equals foot controls, end quotes. So now let's come back and take a look. So we have an attribute holder, and here's where we're going to fill everything up. This guy might actually throw us an error because we're not using these guys. So when we start running it, we want to open up the listener. Okay. This will tell us any errors that it has. And I don't need the macro recorder. Alright, so let's see what's going to happen. So I'm just going to come down here, really anywhere, and we have it selected. We know that we are selected on the object that we want to assign all this code to. So just come in here, click anywhere in our code and hit Control E, and if nothing happens, we need to go take a look at what it says. So here in our error, specified rollout item not found in UI. So basically, it's looking for this, and none of these guys are in here. So I'm just going to quickly comment all these guys out, and let's try this again. So just click anywhere, hit Control E. So we see that it created the rollout called foot controls, and created banking next to the spinner, which has a range of 0 down to -1, and we see that it's actually controlling this. So if we move this default value of 0, there we go. So that's what we're going for. Now you see that by making it, we've made all these little ticks, these tick marks. One of the things that I'm not really really concerned about seeing these tick marks, but one of the things that I do like to do is this. Ticks. I think we're gonna set it like to 2. Let's try that. Okay. Problem with once you do this code, if we add it again, it's just going to add another rollout, but that's fine because we're testing the way things look right now. So Control E, and we see now we've got the start and the end ticks. That's not something that's completely necessary. You can set them up any way you want. These are just things that I prefer to do. So we're now ready to move on. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this modifier, and I'm going to right click because I've already got it added as a modifier to quickly add right there. So let's take a look at our script again, and we're going to uncomment these guys. And now we're basically going to make the rest of them. So I'm going to copy. I'm going to leave a space just so it's clear to see, the groups. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I'll just hit tab to get these guys over. Okay, and now we basically we've got to do the same thing that we did up here. We need to rename all these guys. So this is going to be, let's just copy that, paste, paste, and named it like so. I'm just going to go ahead and do all the renaming first, and then I'll get particular on different attributes and values for the range. Spin toes. Spin heels. Heel up. Probably don't. Why did I say heel up? You'll see when we get to it. Heel up, and then we got tweak. And swivel. Okay, this guy is going to be tweak toes, and this one is swivel the knees. So banking, roll up, spin the toes, spin the heel, raise the toes, tweak the toes, and swivel knees. Alright, so now let's do the ranges. This guy is going to have the roll up is going to have a range of 0 to 1, starting at 1. So make sure that 0 to 1, starting at 1. The toe spin, this is going to go from, this is basically going to be our toe spin. So it's going to start at 0 and go negative and positive. So toe spin's fine, -1 to 1, starting at 0. Heel spin's going to be the same thing. Raised toes is going to be flat on the ground, so 0, and then up to the full up position, so 0 to 1. Tweak toes is going to be same thing, go up, or go negative and then positive, and same thing for swivel knees. So we now have everything created. Let's select on this guy and hit Control E. I'll move this up. Okay, so we have our banking. We can go left to right. Default value is 0. Roll up. Spin toes. Spin the heel. Raise the toes. Tweak the toes up and down, and swivel in and out. The last thing that I'm going to add is I want to add a button up here at the top that is going to give me the ability to reset all of our values. So if we've got everything tweaked out, we just want to kind of start over. How do we, just one quick button to click to reset all these guys back to their starting values. And that's going to be really easy to add. We just need to get rid of this modifier. I'm going to add another one, a nice clean one. And let's take a look at what we're going to write for this. This one's going to be pretty easy. I'm going to go into our rollout and come in here and the first thing that I'm going to do is declare a button called reset button btn, and the name that is going to be written on it is going to be reset all. So we don't need to declare anything in here for this button. These are all the values that we're going to be monitoring, and the only thing that this button is going to do is affect these values. We're not adding any new values, so we don't need to do anything in here with it. So we created our button right here, and now what we're going to do is we're basically going to come down. So we create the rollout, we create the button, we create all these spinners. Now what we need to do is we need to do something about all these spinners, and we want to do it at the end. So we want to let everything get declared and created, and now we can write the code that is going to affect our button. So we're going to say on reset btn pressed do. So whenever we hit this button, whenever we press it, we're going to do something. What are we going to do? Get our open and close braces and parentheses, and in here what we're going to basically do is we want to, whenever we press it, we want to reset whatever values all these guys are. Now because we have the banking SP and the banking slider pointing to the same value, so they're both monitoring the same value. So if this value was 0, so is this one. So all we have to do is now basically just reset. So I'm going to come over here and just pick the first one, and I'll say so when we press the reset button, banking SP dot value equals 0, and that's it. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is roll up. I just want to make sure that we don't have any spelling errors, so I'm just going to copy these. Copy toe spin, heel spin, heel up, tweak, and swivel. Okay, so now let's just anywhere hit Control E. So now here's our reset button, and we can make adjustments to all of them, and reset all, sets everything back to basic position. That's about all I think that we honestly need here with this guy. I think now that we've got the code and we've got the everything kind of set up ready for us to start using, now it's time to start using it. So this would be a good place if you wanted to save your code. Just go File, Save As, and then save this to something that you could use later. Would be a great idea. But before I close it, I'm going to go ahead and select on the other one and Control E. Oh, sorry, we got to apply the modifier first. So get that modifier on there, and then Control E. So we now have, and I notice it's not renaming this guy. Let's try this again. Apply the modifier, Control E, and it's not renaming it. Guess it would help if I actually had the thing spelled correctly. Modifiers, so let's delete that. Control E, add the modifier. Control E, foot controls. There we go. So I guess the other one don't have it either. Nope. So Control E, tag on it, add a modifier. Control E, foot controls. There we go. So now we could say right and left. So we have right and the left. Probably would want to rename these now. Right foot control and left foot control. Alright, so I hope that made sense what we did here with our scripting and our code. Like I said, it's a good idea to save these when you use them. That way when you do your next character, if they're going to have all the same things, and you just open this code and run it. So go ahead and save it, and if you want to comment it, you can. Just come in here and do the double hyphens and say whatever you need to do to comment it if you so wish, so that you understand what all is going on. I'm not really concerned with saving that version because I've already got a version saved. So that's the basic controls here for our guide. Now in the next video we're actually going to take a look at what we can do to make these actually have an effect in our world. So I hope you got something out of that, and I will see you next time.